Hey friends, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. It's Pastor Stephanie here, and I'm so glad that you have joined me for these devotional thoughts. I've got some great things to share with you today, and I hope you're having a very meaningful Holy Week. I'm joining you from my backyard. What a beautiful place for us to gather together today. We're enjoying such beautiful spring weather here in Oklahoma right now. It's something that seems to be so rare for us, and so we're going to soak it up every minute that we get. But I grew up in Kansas City, and in Kansas City, we have very similar weather to what we have in Oklahoma City. And so in the spring, we often get a lot of storms, a lot of thunderstorms, a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, a lot of crashing thunder, some tornadoes. So I grew up in that kind of a setting, just like we have here in Oklahoma City. And I will never forget one particular night. I was about 6 or 7 years old, and my family and I had gone to a restaurant, my favorite restaurant at the time, Tippin's Restaurant. Tippin's had the best pies of all time. We would stand in the waiting area to get ready to go back to our seats, and in that area they would have cases of beautiful pies, and I remember just staring at them. We got to pick out the kind of pie we wanted to have before our dinner, so it would be waiting for us after dinner. It was one of the best restaurants ever. So I remember that night, as soon as we finished up our meal and finished up our dessert, when we stepped out of the restaurant that night, it had started to storm. The rain was coming down, the thunder was crashing, the lightning was going, and we drove home. It was a short drive home, but when we got home, when we pulled into the driveway, because of the way our garage was set up at the time, we weren't all able to get out of the car inside the garage. So my dad, who was driving, stopped in our driveway and he said, "Okay, everybody needs to bolt out of the car and get inside as quickly as you can because it's raining really hard." Well, being the youngest child, I always sat in the middle seat in the back. Any other youngest children have to get stuck in the middle seat in the back? That was always me. So I was the last one to get out of the car. And I remember both car doors on either side of me opened. My sister and brother shot out of the car. And then I had to pick which side to go out of. I raced out my brother's side of the car. And when I got out of the car, I remember looking around and I couldn't see any of my family members. I'm sure they were right there, but I couldn't see any of them. It was as if they had already ran into the garage or run into the garage. And in that moment, something in my little 6 or 7 year old brain froze. And I thought I should just run. And so I just took off. I just ran. I ran towards our front door, which was up a little hill and around a corner. Not a good idea when you're in a storm, but I was not thinking clearly. And so I took off running, and I will never forget the sound of the thunder in that moment and the lightning that was flashing. I was terrified in that moment. And that was the moment where everything changed for me. Because as I thought I was all alone, I didn't know where I was going to go. I thought that everything was going to come crashing down, and I didn't know how I was going to find my way inside. In that moment, immediately as I panicked, I turned around and I was met with my dad's open arms. My dad had seen what was going on. He saw that I had gone the wrong direction, and he got out of the car in the rain, raced around the car up the little hill to make sure that he could find me. And when I turned around in a frozen panic, there he was. And I remember we both were soaking wet, and he scooped me up into his arms, and he carried me all the way back down the hill and into the garage where I was safe. Friends, sometimes we find ourselves in a scary time, a time when we don't know what to do, a time when we feel panicked, a time when it feels like our brains are not making logical decisions because we are so scared. But I have a scripture for you today to show you what your Father does in the midst of those times, in every moment. It's from a well-known psalm, I'm probably sure one of your beloved scriptures, and that is from Psalm 23. And in Psalm 23, David says towards the end of the psalm, "Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life." Now, friends, I want you to think just for a moment about that word pursue. Some versions will say that surely your goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. But the New Living Translation says it very accurately, that surely your goodness and your unfailing love will pursue me all of the days of my life. Friends, our God, our Father, He doesn't just happen to run into us from time to time. It's never by accident that we come in touch with our God, because God is always pursuing you. He's coming after you. He's seeking you out. Even in the midst of a storm, even in the midst of a time when you're running the opposite direction and you are not thinking clearly, even in that time, even when things are crashing around you, even when you are terrified and you can't see the road ahead, even in that time, God pursues you. He comes after you. His goodness is running after you. And so today, I hope that you will remember that you have a God whose goodness is so good and is so intentional about coming after you that nothing can get in his way. Not a pandemic, not a tomb, not a big stone rolled over a tomb. Nothing will get in his way. Not a storm, not confusion, not doubt, not fear. Nothing gets in the way of God's pursuit of you. That's how much he loves you. So if you feel scared today, or if you feel unsure, or you feel like you don't know which way to go, or you wonder why you're doing the things that you're doing, why you're feeling the ways that you're feeling, because none of it seems to make sense, stop for just a moment. Remember that God pursues you, that his goodness is chasing after you. He sees where you are, and he's willing to do anything that it takes to get to you. That's how much he loves you. So stop for a minute. Turn around. You will be met with the open arms of your loving Father, and he will carry you to safety. Friends, I'm glad that you have joined me again today. Tomorrow is Maundy Thursday. I hope you'll join us at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live for a prayer gathering. Pastor D.A. and I will be doing this together. We're going to be sharing scripture with you. We're going to share a song with you. We're going to share a lot of prayer, and we're going to let you interact with us. And then on Good Friday at 6:30, we will be doing the Stations of the Cross on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And then on Sunday morning, we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ at 10:30 on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So I hope you'll join us. Friends, I continue to pray for you. You are not alone. Remember that God is with you and that your church family and your pastors love you. Have a wonderful day.